I'm still trying to make sense of it all. It was late afternoon, almost evening. I was driving through a remote stretch of road. No towns nearby, no other cars in sight. The trees on either side of the road were bare, their leaves already fallen. Cold wind whispered through the branches. It was late fall, that kind of sharp chill in the air that gets in your lungs and makes you cough. My phone had no signal, no GPS, but I wasn't worried. Not yet. Then, the engine sputtered. A stutter, a jerk. The dashboard lights blinked, and just like that, the car died. No noise, just the hum of the wind against the windows. I coasted to the shoulder and stopped, tried the key again. Nothing. The ignition clicked, but the engine didn't turn over. I got out, popped the hood. Cold air rushed in around me. I'm no mechanic, but I know enough to check a few things. First, the battery terminals. They looked clean, no corrosion. Then the belts, intact, nothing obvious. Oil levels, fine. Nothing leaking, nothing smoking. The engine just looked fine, but it wouldn't start. I stood there for a moment, listening. Nothing but wind. The sky was getting darker, clouds rolling in thick and low. Fog beginning to gather on the edges of the road like ghostly fingers reaching out from the woods. I checked my phone again. No bars. I walked around to the trunk, thinking maybe I had something useful. Found a half-empty water bottle, a blanket, and a flashlight. One of those long metal ones. I clicked it on. A dim yellow beam, but steady. And then I heard it. A cry. Distant, faint, but there. It came from beyond the trees, deep in the fog. I froze, listening. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't wind. It was a human cry, like someone calling out or sobbing. At first, I wasn't scared, just confused. Was someone hurt? Had another car crashed nearby? I stood there thinking. Then slowly, I stepped off the road. I began walking toward the sound. The flashlight cut a narrow path through the fog. It swirled in front of me, thickening the deeper I walked. The cry sounded again. Same distance, same tone. Almost like I hadn't gotten any closer. But I kept going. Maybe the trees were playing tricks with the sound. Still, I started to feel off. My footsteps sounded too loud. The crunch of dead leaves under my boots echoed strangely. The air smelled metallic and damp. The fog wrapped around me like wet wool. I paused, trying to get my bearings. The crying had stopped. I turned in place, sweeping the flashlight. No sign of anyone. Then, the sound returned. But it had changed. The sobbing was no longer sobbing. It had a rhythm now, like breath, catching. Then, it grew lighter, almost playful. Then it laughed. A wet, broken laugh. The kind of laugh that isn't coming from a place of joy, but from something imitating joy. The laughter rose and fell, like someone enjoying a private joke. Still hidden in the fog, still far behind me. My skin went cold, not from the air, but from something deeper. I stood frozen for too long. Then I whispered, barely audible. Nope. I turned around, started walking back. At first, slowly, trying not to look panicked. And for a moment, I felt relief. The laughter seemed to stay where it was, behind me, fading a little even. I picked up the pace, started a light jog. The road would be close, my car waiting, my mind already picturing getting inside and locking the doors. But then, something changed. The laughter didn't fade anymore. It shifted. It was no longer behind me. It was ahead, coming from the direction of the road, of my car. I slowed down, confused, heart racing. The laughter was waiting for me, between me and safety. I kept walking, slower, cautious. My instincts screamed to turn off the path, to move away. But I couldn't. I had to see it. The flashlight barely lit more than a few feet ahead. And then, through the fog, twin beams of light cut through the fog like blades. My car, just sitting there. The laughter stopped, suddenly, completely. The engine was running. The lights were on. I felt a surge of adrenaline, maybe fear, maybe courage. I couldn't tell the difference. I crept closer. The fog thinned just enough to confirm what I already feared. No one inside. No sign of damage. No open hood. I approached it slowly, flashlight shaking in my hand. The driver's door was unlocked. My keys were in the ignition. I sat down in the driver's seat. The engine purred like it had never stopped. I looked around, still alone. I drove. As the wheels turned, the fog began to fade. Mile after mile, it cleared. The road opened up, stars visible again. To this day, I don't know what happened. I checked the car twice the next morning. Nothing wrong. Battery fine. Engine fine. It still runs like a dream. But I never go near that stretch of road anymore. And I never, ever follow strange cries in the fog.